Welcome back for another session on NetBackup PureDisk today. I'm Stefan Vervat. I work for Symantec as a technical product manager, and today we're going to discuss a little bit more on the export capabilities of NetBackup PureDisk. So let's have a look. If you are an existing customer of NetBackup PureDisk, this will definitely be familiar to you because NetBackup PureDisk has the capability of exporting data to NetBackup. And this is our subject today. We're going to show you a little bit more how that works and hope to cover some of your questions. Now, if you look at data that's being backed up to a deduplication pool or to disk in general, most of these data sets have a certain retention. Now, not every data set has the same retention. So the export capability allows you to export that particular data set from this deduplication pool or from disk and move it to tape for long-term archive purposes. So let's have a look. Let me draw you a picture. So if you look at the data center, you probably have a tape device out there or a tape library. If you back up a lot of data, you have some NetBackup media servers and a backup master environment. So any of these will actually help you to move data to disk or to tape. Now, if you look at PureDisk, PureDisk is a deduplication technology. So again, it's deduplicating the data at source or at the back end, depending on your requirements. Now, the use case we're going to discuss today is focused on deduplication at the source level. That means we're talking about remote sites, VMware environments, and also environments in the data center or servers in the data centers that you would like to back up with this deduplication technology. So let's say this is our PureDisk server. PureDisk server is just a bunch of physical or virtual servers that you connect to storage, and whatever you store on that PureDisk server will be deduplicated. So you have a lot of storage savings, and if you use our intelligent agents in the remote sites, let's say you have a remote site, if you use our intelligent agents that you install on your clients, you basically also have a lot of WAN optimization because thanks to this deduplication, which is done at the client side. Now, if you look at a remote site, there's two scenarios, right? You have the smaller remote sites and the larger remote sites. The smaller ones are the ones where you will install the intelligent agent on the client and back up directly to a PureDisk server in your data center. So this is your data center. This is your remote site. So let's say we'll back up directly to the PureDisk server in the data center. We'll store it on disk, and let's say we'll keep it there for maybe, let's say maybe 30 days, which is very common. A lot of customers today will store the data on disk with a longer retention than in the past, just because this deduplication technology allows you to store the more versions on disk. And some customers want to get rid of tape completely. They want to get rid of tape, just move everything to disk. But even there, it's very, it's not that easy because if you have retentions in place that expect you to store data for 7 years, you're not going to store all that data on disk. You may want to export that data to tape and put it in your vault and keep it there for 7 years, and then restore it whenever you feel comfortable or whenever you need it. So let's say in the remote site, you're backing up your data with a PureDisk client. You deduplicate that data at the source, move it over to a PureDisk server in the data center. Now you have all this data stored on storage, because this could be SAN, this could be a NAS, or it could be direct attached storage. There's no real limitation there. But let's say you want to move this to tape. Now, how is the PureDisk and the backup integration so strongly done? So what happens is, once this data is moved to PureDisk, you have the capability of exporting this data to any of your NetBackup media servers. Now, and again, this, let me just emphasize this with a different color. So if you look at this export capability, this is done inline or is done without any staging process. So let's say you back up some data from your PureDisk clients, store it on PureDisk, which is then stored and managed on the SAN or NAS or DAS. You can easily export it for long-term archive purposes, and you can say, all my financial data that I have to keep for 7 years, I'll just create an export policy. that will run on a monthly basis or weekly basis, and we'll export that data to a NetBackup media server. Now, this NetBackup media server, which will own, NetBackup media server is basically the component in NetBackup that owns the media, whether it's tape or disk. That media server will actually route that data to a tape library, or to any tape on our tape library. Now, what's the big advantage here? First of all, the integration of NetBackup and PureDisk allows you to streamline those exports without any staging. So you need no staging. It's automatically automatic. So basically, you can create a policy and schedule it on a weekly, monthly, or maybe even a daily basis, but that is less recommended, because the whole idea is to reduce your tape outs and keep your versions on disk for a longer term. So let's say right now we have retention on disk for 30 days, and after that 30 days, we will just export all the data to the media server where it will store the data on tape. Now, what is the other benefit? The other benefit is that once this export starts running, let's say you scheduled a monthly export, this data that will be exported to NetBackup will actually be reconstituted, so that in 7 years from now, you can just easily take that tape out of your vault and you can just restore it directly to a NetBackup client. So what is the benefit here? The benefit is that it reconstitutes the files in their original format, and it will automatically link that export, that export image, to the original client's name. So let's say this client was called Win2K3 Engineering. What happens is this data set, let's say this was a 1 terabyte data set, it was backed up directly to your PureDisk server where it was stored for 30 days. After 30 days, you export one version, you export it to tape. 7 years from now, you can just easily take that tape, take it back out of your vault, and on the tape you will find back the original client's name, which is Win2K3 Engineering, and you will find that version back. And you can easily say, now restore this automatically to my NetBackup client. So what is the trick here? The trick is that NetBackup PureDisk, this particular integration, will automatically associate the correct image to the correct original client's host name. So we basically keep the original host name, keep host names. And that will make sure that whenever you would export data or restore data from any NetBackup image, that you've stored in your vault or that you stored on a tape device or on a tape somewhere, that you can just restore from it.